So ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again. Welcome to the first edition of the Notebook 0-Hour online inter-school debate powered by Stayfree. So today we have the Indian School Al Ghubra from Oman and the Orchids, the international school from Thane, competing in the first match of Pool A. If I could please request the speakers to also switch on their cameras. Before we go on to the actual debate, hi Shama, we can see you. Hi Suyog, Tanushree, we can see you now. And Jinay, great. Before we start off with the debate, I'm sure all of you are raring to go. I'm sure the rules have been explained to you. If not, I will go through them once quickly before we start. But it is now my privilege to introduce to you Mr. Philip Burrett. Mr. Philip Burrett was the Deputy Headmaster of the illustrious Doon School in Dehradun, and we are very fortunate to have him with us. He has adjudicated numerous debates throughout his life. So we'll now invite Burrett sir to please share his thoughts, his guidance with you before we start. Burrett sir, over to you.
Can you hear me, Shubayu?
Yes, sir.
Shubayu? Audible? Yeah. I can't see the participants on my screen.
Sir, are you on a phone?
Hello? Shubayu? No,
Yes.
I'm on my laptop.
Sir,
I can't see the participants.
Sir, if you're on the Zoom screen,
yes.
on the top right, where it says now talking Shubhayu Roy, on the top of that there are four.
Yes.
If you can show the grid icon, it will show you a grid of all the cameras which are
yes. On. Okay. All right. Got it. Yes, but yes, I got them. Yes. Okay, I got them now, Shubayu. Okay, yes. I can see Tanushree, Jane, but I cannot see Kashma and Suyog. Yes, I've got you now. Thank you very much. And only Tanushree, I can't see. So good afternoon, everybody, and I look forward to a wonderful debate here. I must say I've judged debates, but I have not judged online debate as yet. So this is the first time experience for me as well. May the best team win. I'm really looking forward to our friends from across the Persian Gulf and see what you all are up to. So I just went off the screen. There's very bad connectivity where I am. I'm in Dehradun, very far away in the hills, and it's an extremely overcast day. So just as I said, I look forward to a good debate from you, and that's all I have to say. I'm just looking forward to it. I just wish I wasn't judging. I wish I was just listening to you.
So with that, this is the topic that you have been given. This house believes censorship is necessary. A quick check to all the three judges. You have accessed the scoring sheets. You have it open in front of you, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's true.
Yes.
Perfect. Right. So these are the teams as we have already met. From the Indian School Al Ghubra, Mrs. Meena Zakaria is the adjudicator. Shama would be speaking for the motion. Suyog against the motion. From the Orchids International School, Thane, Ms. Pooja Matolia is the adjudicator. Tanushree would be speaking for the motion and Jinay against, right? So an interesting thing where both the for and the against teams have two people from two different schools teaming up. Let's see how you argue the motion together. This will be the order we'll go in. Shama, you will go first. You will have 5 minutes to place your arguments, and then we'll circle back to you after your friends are done for your rebuttal, right? Any confusion on the rules? Anything that you want explained? Any questions? So Shama, if you're ready, your time starts now. Shama, you're on mute.
Yeah. Am I audible?
Yeah, and your time will start now.
The bench may decide to disqualify any speaker on the spot for the use of profanity, incendiary, or insensitive statements. This is exactly what the rules of this very competition state. When the competition organizers themselves recognize censorship as necessary, I fail to understand why my worthy opponents would disagree. Good afternoon, everyone. I will be speaking for the motion that censorship is necessary. To me, the term censorship is not only limited to an authority imposing restrictions, but also to the expression of my thoughts and opinions. Hence, I strongly advocate the necessity of censorship at both personal and societal levels for a harmonious existence. History has shown us time and again that while freedom of speech is necessary, sometimes there is a need to control what is said in public. Humans don't understand when their words can hurt a particular group of people, which is why censorship had to be introduced in the first place. With the advent of the internet, it became easier for people to put forward their opinions. False information and hatred can spread faster than ever through the internet, which is precisely why censorship becomes even more important in today's world. I would like to put forward some major points to support this motion. To start off, censorship can reduce the impact of hate speech in society. Hate speech in any form, political, religious, or cultural, can disrupt societies. And especially looking at this in the Indian context, which is known for its enormous diversity, it becomes very important to protect the interests of every community. Hate speech will not be tolerated in a country like India. Therefore, censorship helps us prevent this hate even before it gets started. And if censorship were not necessary, why would major tech companies agree to a code of conduct with the European Union? Why would India strengthen its laws in this matter? It is for the simple reason that these countries have seen the devastating effects of hate speech that had damaging consequences on society. Therefore, any and every effort to censor content is but a step towards achieving peace in society. Next, censorship can reduce the amount of conflict that is in society. The internet provides a platform for anyone to put forward their opinions on any issue. Therefore, it is foreseeable that some content can offend certain groups of people. The goal of censorship isn't to eliminate access to everything that might hurt people. We wouldn't get to go online if that were the case. What we can do with this process is limit access to information that could have an adverse impact on the overall culture of our homes, communities, or countries. And lastly, and perhaps the most important point, censorship provides us with a vehicle to stop false content. From messages suggesting cures to the coronavirus, something even scientists haven't been able to do yet, to increasing anxiety in students by giving out false result dates. WhatsApp is perhaps the biggest evidence as to why there is a need to censor information online. If there was no such system in place to screen information before being provided to the public, we would have no reliable source of information. Censorship laws are also what protect you from businesses. There are laws in place to ensure that advertisements only show what the product is actually providing the public. And if not followed, people have the right to even sue these big companies. Therefore, these laws are vital for consumer protection. In conclusion, censorship should not be viewed as an attempt to curtail freedom of speech. Rather, it is a step towards ensuring that people use their freedom of speech, keeping in mind the interests of society at large. It is vital to think of ways to improve existing censorship systems rather than debate on whether it is useful or not. Therefore, I strongly support the motion that censorship is necessary. Over to the moderator.
Shama, that was very, very well done. Short, crisp arguments, hard hitting. I'm sure the judges are marking you accordingly. Let us quickly check on the score sheets if the scores are in yet.
Subayu, can I send it on the WhatsApp?
Sure, sir.
Okay.
I'm also seeing your scores on the screen at my end, sir, if you want to use that.
I don't know how to put the score in actually, Subayu.
I can see somebody scoring on your sheet. Is that, I think, Meena ma'am, you're putting in your scores?
Yes, I am. How am I accessing his sheet? I thought it was my sheet. How would I get to?
No worries. Burrett, sir, if you can just send me your scores on WhatsApp.
Yes. Yes, I'll do.
Ma'am, you can continue putting in your scores there.
I just clicked on this and it came. I don't know how I.
No problem, ma'am. I can see the 4 students enjoying the difficulties of teachers.
It hasn't. Is the panelist's name mentioned anywhere in these sheets? I don't.
On the top row, ma'am, second row from top, you will see the school name on top and then the name of the student. So
The school name is mentioned. I saw that, but okay. May I continue in this?
Sure, ma'am. Suyog, you are up next.
So Vayu, can I ask you one thing? This is Pooja here.
Yes, ma'am, please.
The criteria of rebuttal is not yet completed. So do we have to score there also? No.
No, so rebuttal scores we'll update after the rebuttal.
Okay. Sure.
We get the round for the first round of scores.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries.
So the score sheet. I click the share button and then you'll get it. Is that how it?
No, ma'am, you don't have to click anything. When you're entering it, I can see your screen.
So I don't have to do anything. Okay.
All right. So
How do I move on to the next sheet?
ma'am, you don't have to move on to any sheet. Just you've entered your marks perfectly. Let's just wait until the next speaker speaks. I think we have the scores in from Meena ma'am for Shama. Let us get that updated. That's from Meena ma'am. We have Pooja ma'am scores as well. Wow.
I've sent the scores to Subayu.
Yes, sir, I've received them. Shama, you're in for a bit of a surprise. So I will quickly update the scores now. Judge 1 is Mr. Burrett, sir. That's his score. Judge 2 is Meena ma'am. That's her score. And Judge 3 is Pooja ma'am. That's her score.
So we score from the drop-down box, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct. So those are the 3 scores from the 3 judges, Shama. That's what you have on the board right now. We are not going to put in the average as yet. We will wait for the rebuttal before we can put in that score. With that, Suyog, it's your turn. You're going against the motion and your time starts now.
Censorship is the child of fear and the father of ignorance. Laurie Hals Anderson. Good afternoon to one and all. I will be speaking against the topic, censorship is necessary. What exactly do we mean by censorship? Censorship is the suppression or prohibition of any parts of books, films, news, etc. that are considered obscene, politically unacceptable, or a threat to security. However, over time, censorship has also been used to suppress ideas, thoughts, and comments that may be considered unfavorable to the image of the government or the censorship body. We have seen several instances in the past and even during current times that show us that people in power who have authority over censorship bodies often end up taking advantage of the situation for their personal or political gains and never really use censorship for the purpose it was intended. People are not allowed to express their opinions due to this suppression, which makes more and more citizens unaware of mistakes made by authorities, which only leads to additional exploitation. The major reasons why censorship is unnecessary are: censorship is exploitative. Censorship restricts people from expressing their opinions on subjects that can harm the political interests of those in power or which expose the faults in the system that they have established. Reporters, media channels, and even civil vigilantes are unable to speak their thoughts as it would be immediately censored and never allowed to enter mainstream media. Thus, only autocratic governments end up winning in the case of censorship. Censorship doesn't allow information to come out. One of the most recent examples of censorship blocking information from coming out is the COVID-19 pandemic. A research conducted by the Human Rights Watch states, censorship in China and elsewhere has fed the pandemic, helping to turn a potentially containable threat into a global calamity. The Chinese government illustrated the disastrous consequence of ignoring people's free access to timely and accurate information. When doctors in Wuhan tried to sound the alarm in December about the new coronavirus, authorities silenced and reprimanded them, which led to a global health calamity. Censorship doesn't protect children. A lot of people have this misconception that censorship of information can protect children from sites which should be strictly for adults. However, in reality, censorship doesn't protect them at all, as the internet is a massive space with tons of information spread across it. Can censorship cover it all? Absolutely not. Parents who are concerned about their children's safety while browsing can use a parental control feature on search engines that automatically blocks out sites that are either harmful or inappropriate. But that is good parenting. That is not censorship. So there is absolutely no need to raise censorship as a method of protecting children. An article on Forbes written by Larry Magid also states the same, that censorship is not required to protect children. Censorship suppresses voices. In 377 BC, Socrates was forced to drink hemlock as he was accused of corrupting the youth of Athens to new ideas. And Galileo Galilei was declared a heretic and put under house arrest for the rest of his life, just for promoting the idea of a heliocentric universe. Are these examples too old to support that censorship suppresses voices? Then how about Holly O'Reilly, a songwriter and activist who spoke out against the misleading actions by Donald Trump and was immediately blocked on Twitter, along with several other people who called him out? This is a clear example of how censorship has suppressed people from expressing themselves. Political influences and under-the-table transactions to bury information are all that is left of censorship. Censorship is only to make people think in ways that people in power want, to make puppets out of independent human beings. Censorship in its rawest form certainly does not protect people as it claims to. Is it a method to suppress voices and opinions? Yes. Is it a method to gain autocratic control? Yes. Is it a way to create an illusion to people that they are safe? Yes. Is censorship necessary? Most definitely not. Over to the moderator.
Wonderfully argued, Suyog. Some very valid points and very recent points there. Love the relevant example of coronavirus pandemic. Let's see how the scoring works. Meena ma'am.
Yep. I'm just editing the previous score, right?
Pooja ma'am, are you also editing the first column itself? Burrett sir, if you could send it to me on WhatsApp, that would do.
I've sent it, Subayu.
I just received it. Thank you. Suyog, you'll just wait for a few more minutes before we can publish your scores. As you can well understand, this being the first edition of these debates, it'll take us, I guess, 1 or 2 editions before we get the act absolutely right.
I'm done, I think.
Meena ma'am, you're done?
Yep.
Thank you. Pooja ma'am, are you done? Can we take your score?
Just a second. I'm not able to edit it. Just a second.
All right.
I'll let you know. Yes, sir. I'm done.
Thank you so much. Right. So those are Suyog scores. Suyog, some very enviable marks on the board there. So ladies and gentlemen, those were the 2 speakers from the Indian School Al Ghubra, Muscat. Now it's time for Tanushri. Tanushri from Orchid, the International School, Thane, going for the motion.
हाँ, मैंने अभी भी 92 दिया है because उसने उन लोगों उसको बहुत ज़्यादा दिया 85. I cannot give less.
Yeah. So Tanushri, you are speaking for the motion and your time will start now.
Good afternoon to one and all. I am Tanushri Ambale from Orchids International School, Thane. Today, I will present before you reasons why this resolution at hand, stating censorship is necessary, should pass. Censorship is defined as prohibition or changing of speech or writing that is deemed subversive to the greater good. In a democratic country such as India, the government by the people, the government for the people, elected by the people for the betterment of people, has all rights to protect the liberty of each individual and the sovereignty of the country. Protecting vital information from its citizens is imperative for both guiding the security of a country and also the well-being of each citizen. However, not all information should be leaked to the citizens, as it comes with a huge risk of information reaching the wrong hands. Censorship also, without censorship, there's a huge risk of disinformation. For example, when Patanjali allegedly announced that they had found the cure for the COVID-19, millions of people had high hopes for this. However, all their hopes were shattered, and they were left disheartened because of this information. If censorship would have been implemented, then this invalid and false information would not have been leaked. Censorship on the internet is also very important. The internet is like a huge ocean of information, where most of the information is definitely beneficial, but also has many pollutants. Pollutants in the form of media, in the form of social media, movies, theater, literature, in many forms. The list is endless. However, the major drawback is that there's no protection for this toxic content. Young minds are like clay that can shape very easily. Young individuals are exposed to this toxic content which then changes their way of thinking, which then influences them into doing wrong things. For example, there are various videos online demonstrating on people on how to making bombs, on demonstrating them on how to fail drug tests, on how to acquire marijuana or other illegal drugs. In a world where this information is easily accessible, portrays a wrong influence to the younger minds. If this information is not blocked, then the future is not bright. This information should be protected from the young children so that we as individuals can grow together. Censorship acts as a blanket that covers all the citizens from this toxic content. Censorship acts as a barrier for young children from this toxic content. It acts as a bridge between the content creators and their opinions on how and how it allows only the positive information to pass. In a world where there are several cultures, where there are different people with different beliefs, there are bound to be ideas that clash and cause great indifferences amongst them. And censorship is a way to filter out ideas that are not targeted towards a specific group and that are not always harmful to a specific group. Censorship is a cover for toxic behavior. And this house believes that censorship should be implemented. This house believes that censorship should stay. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanushree. Thank you for sharing your argument in the view of how censorship should be necessary. We are waiting on the scores. Meena ma'am, Pooja ma'am, whenever you're done scoring, please let me know once. I have Burrett sir's scores with me. We are not sharing detailed score sheets at the moment, but if any of the participants want, get in touch with us and we'll be happy to share the detailed score sheets with you.
Oh, okay, I'm done.
Meena ma'am, is that your final?
Yeah, yes.
All right, we have Burrett sir's scores already.
I'm done, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I will just quickly update the scores. So Tanushree, these are your points up on the screen now. A little bit of a shaky start. I understand you might have gotten a little nervous. Not an easy task addressing an international audience of 200 people. The audience must realize that for the students who are debating here at this young age, facing an audience of your size and holding their own is a very, very tough task. Incidentally, public speaking ranks as the #1 fear across the world, above the fear of death. So, Tanushree, don't worry, there are 2 more minutes of rebuttal and I'm sure you can bounce back. With that, Jinay, it's now your turn. Remember, the school's total score is going to be the average of your scores. So, all the best and go for it. Your time starts now.
Good afternoon, one and all. I'm Junay Vora from Orchids, the International School, Thane, and I wish to speak about why censorship is an unnecessary evil. Freedom to speech and expression are a fundamental right, and it cannot be taken away from us. So I'll be conveying my message by giving examples in the fields of media, science, and arts to show that censorship must be abolished. Democracy gives us the freedom of expression, regardless of their race, gender, or age. People have the right to express their opinion. Whatever the issues are, their voices must be heard. Artists use canvas to share their feelings, hopes, and emotions. Directors use music and film. If such a system of censorship were in place, writers wouldn't be able to write books, and many other professions would suffer too. Censorship often leads to suppression of new ideas and inventions. If information were controlled, society would never prosper. For thousands of years, people were threatened with death if they said the earth is round. Other scientific discoveries wouldn't have taken place. Had people not risen to challenge the suppression of facts, aside from science, philosophical ideas wouldn't bear fruits. Great thinkers like René Descartes, Shakespeare, and Socrates flourished because they were allowed to. The ability to think freely leads to innovation. That's another reason why censorship is wrong. When ideas are suppressed, civilization stagnates. The right to know is a fundamental right in a democracy, which is restricted because of censorship. Along with freedom of expression, people have the right to know. In politics, the masses can demand transparency. Everyone must be given the chance to know the truth. A society that is dictated misleads its people by telling the people only what they want them to know. Minimal censorship does no harm to anyone, but to the extent we have reached is insane. 80% of the world does not have access to an internet that is completely uncensored. Also, the Great Firewall of China monitors all online activities, including private chats, using special programs. Even the information about the outbreak of the pandemic COVID-19 was censored by China and was kept partially hidden. This had a devastating impact all over the world. Thus, censorship always has evil impacts. Finally, the right to disagree must not be taken away from the people. At the root of it all, restriction of information is all about establishing control. That is totally against the democratic ideal. The right for everyone to speak and disagree is important. It's better to have knowledgeable people disagreeing rather than agreeing to it blindly. It's true that disagreements can be difficult. However, it is a small price to pay for the privilege to have your voice heard. France has had a long history of governmental censorship, but today, freedom of press is guaranteed by the French Constitution. This is because they have understood the need for the freedom of speech and expression. They know that censorship has despicable impacts on the country and hence should be abolished. Also, censorship was one of the main reasons as for why the French revolted against the monarch. Finally, I would like to conclude by saying that censorship is wrong as it takes away a part of what makes us human beings. When information is suppressed, our views are limited to just one point. People turn into blind followers, and in this setting, the individual is nothing more than a mere robot made to obey. Over to the moderator.
Thank you, Janay. Wonderfully done. Thank you for sharing those thoughts with us. Let's see how the scoring goes. Judges, I hope you're already sending your scores in. Burrett sir, I have your score. While the scores come in, a few things for everybody to note, especially the audience. There is going to be an audience poll for the best speaker of the day, right at the end, right? So next we'll go around the table. All four of them will have a chance of rebuttal for 2 minutes each. And after that, we will ask you for the audience poll. So please stay on until the end to support the team that you're rooting for. This event is brought to you by Notebook and is powered by Stayfree. Stayfree as a female hygiene brand does a phenomenal amount of work for women's empowerment and ensuring a safer transition for kids into their puberty. There's a small video that they wanted to share with all of you. I will quickly play that for you while we are waiting for this course.
मेरे पीरियड शुरू हो गए हैं। पहली बार हो रहे हैं मुझे, तो काफी अजीब लग रहा है।
पीरियड्स में मुझे आसान काम भी मुश्किल लगता है। बहुत दर्द होता है।
मैं किसी के पास बैठ भी नहीं सकती और जब मैं उठती हूँ बार-बार निशान चेक करती हूँ।
घर में एक ही वॉशरूम है तो पैड चेंज करने में मुझे शर्म आती है।
मुझे पैड को कचरे में छोड़ना पड़ता है हर बार।
She may not understand what she's going through. She just needs to know. You do. Over 2 million girls will get their first period in lockdown. Your daughter or sister could be one of them. Talk to her. Tell her.
It's normal. It's just a period.
Done, sir.
Done, ma'am?
Done. I'm done.
Quickly
My
check.
score.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Even I have done.
Fantastic. Right. If you would just follow my screen. These are how the scores stack up at the end of the first round of the initial arguments. Remember, there are still points to be scored for rebuttal. Everybody can see the screen, your strategy is framed. You know how you want to go about it. Right. Shama, so you will be rebutting the points put across by Suyog and Jinay, the against bench. If you're ready, we will start your time now.
Censorship is a step towards achieving world peace. When my worthy opponents have consented to follow the code of conduct of this competition, they have in fact agreed to being censored. The opposition started by saying that censorship is exploitative as it does not let people speak freely and openly. And I completely agree with the second half of this statement. Censorship does not allow people to speak freely and openly on certain issues to ensure that the interests of a larger audience are protected. If everyone was allowed to openly speak their minds, then achieving peace in society would be next to impossible. Next, the opposition constantly mentioned the case about China and the pandemic we are going through. However, that point isn't whether censorship is necessary or not. It is about who has the right to censor. Just like there are independent election commissions, there have to be independent censorship commissions that look into such matters. So we must not focus on whether censorship is necessary, but on who censors content. Next, my worthy opponents argued that freedom of speech is enshrined in the constitution of many countries and it is fundamental. It is in fact the essence of democracy. Therefore, censorship can be seen as a curbing of this freedom. However, may I remind my worthy opposition that the freedom of speech in all constitutions does mention that citizens can exercise this right as long as they don't undermine the dignity of fellow citizens. And this is censorship in its most elemental form. The opposition also mentioned that censorship suppresses voices. However, the protests in Delhi in mid-March led to large divisions in society. Regardless, all these sides agreed on one common ground. False news was what instigated and sustained that violence, therefore proving that censorship is very essential to suppress voices at times to ensure that society is protected. Over to the moderator.
Thank you, Shama. Good rebuttal, but you went a little over time. I would ask the judges to please note that. Judges are marking her out of 5. Please remember that for the rebuttal only. We are waiting for the scores.
I did put a score on.
Ma'am, the score that I'm seeing you've put, is that the score that you want to give to Shama?
Sorry, I have 1 minute.
The score that you have put.
I would like, okay.
Is that the final score, ma'am?
Yes.
Yeah. Pooja, ma'am, that's your final score, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me quickly add those scores. Shama, those are your final scores. Let me also tell you your average. So Shama, your total score out of a possible average total of 100 is 91, which I think is very, very well done. I'm sure you do your school proud. Next, we have Suyog. Suyog, you would be rebutting the points put forward by Shama and Tanushri. I would request you to restrict your rebuttal of the points that Shama has made before her rebuttal, that is in her initial arguments. Right? You're not rebutting the rebuttal. With that, Suyog, your 2 minutes, and please adhere to the time limit because there is a negative marking for that. Suyog, your time will start now.
I may not agree with you, but I will defend to my last breath your right to say it. Evelyn Beatrice Hall. This is the foundation upon which a free and fair society exists. Then I wonder how my opponents could ever say that censorship is necessary. My opponents proposed a point stating censorship reduces hate speech and gave an example of India. Well, with a country having such a massive and diverse population, it will never be possible to satisfy the needs of everyone in society. But censorship won't get us any closer to the goal of harmony. It is only through education that we can make people aware of how we shouldn't discriminate against one another. My opponents proposed another point that censorship reduces conflict and people should not post anything that offends anyone else. However, what about the cases wherein people's voices are suppressed when they speak out against the wrongdoings of a particular person or group? This will definitely be offensive to the accused, but are the people really doing it wrong? Won't censorship suppress these people from expressing themselves and making other people aware of facts and figures necessary for the common good? Thus, I find this point completely invalid, as it just goes to show how censorship really works by restricting people from speaking their mind. My opponents also proposed another point stating censorship helps to stop false content. However, when we look at the magnitude of information out there, censorship cannot stop all fake news. Fake news will always find a way to circumvent these censorship policies. So I would recommend that my opponents use more reliable media sources rather than WhatsApp for news. Once again, censorship is not the answer, awareness is. Thus, after hearing my opponent's views, I have only strengthened my stance that censorship is not the answer and most definitely unnecessary. Over to the moderator.
Thank you, Suyog. Well done. I think that was a very nicely done rebuttal. Let's see what the judges think on your scores.
I've put my score, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Meena, ma'am.
Yeah, got that. All right. Okay.
Done with the scores.
Yes, ma'am. I got your scores. Let me just quickly add the scores to your earlier scores. All right, so you have argued your points in the arguments well. You have had a good rebuttal. And up now on your screen are your scores out of 100. Out of a total possible score of 100, you have scored 94. Very, very well done. Tanushree, your turn next. As I said, you are rebutting Jinay and Suyog's points, but from the original arguments, not from the rebuttals, right? If you're ready, your time starts now.
The opposition kept on mentioning that freedom of speech is important. The freedom of speech is very important. But yes, it is important. But with freedom of speech comes a huge risk of misusage of that speech, of that freedom. Whenever people are given the right to speak, they often misuse it. They often use it to show hate towards a certain group of people they disagree with. In a world where there are where there are different cultures and where there are different ideas and beliefs, they use their freedom of speech to point out negativity, to point out fallacies in their arguments, which is not what we want. We don't want an endless battle of pointing fingers at each other. Censorship provides a barrier between this endless fight of you did this and you did that wrong. Censorship will help in blocking all the negativity. Censorship acts as a filter that filters out only the positivity and not the negativity that comes with differences in beliefs. Thank you.
All right, Tanushree, thanks for that. We will see how the judges score you on that. Burrett sir, I have your score. Meena ma'am, is that your score?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Pooja ma'am, you have your score as well.
Yes.
I'm sure the students are watching and laughing as I'm struggling with the mental maths. You guys are way better than us at this. We kind of get over the habit once we are done with school. So you'll have to give me a couple of minutes, but I think I am done. So Tanushree, on the screen now, out of a total possible marks of 100, this has been your scores. 64 is the average out of the 3 judges. Not to lose heart, I'm sure there'll be better rounds. Let's see how Jinay holds up his end for the school. Jinay, if you're ready, your time for the rebuttal starts now.
My worthy opponent, Shama, said that censorship will reduce conflicts, but in my opinion, conflicts are healthy. We get candid results after healthy conflicts. Alignment without healthy discussion and debate is not appropriate and also will not give us justice. And also, censorship is not always the solution to curb the spread of fake news. In order to maintain an open democratic system, censorship is an option to be chosen in the worst case scenario. Government should promote news literacy and strong professional journalism in their societies. The news industry must provide high quality journalism in order to build public trust. Also, when it comes to people and the children, the government does not have the right to decide what is acceptable for the people to hear and see. According to me, it is the parents' job to check if the child is going to the wrong way or the right way, and the student and the school's job to make sure they educate the young children what is right and what is wrong. Adults have their personal rights to be able to access any sites they want to go to. The government should respect that right. Over to the moderator.
All right, Junaid, that was very well done. Crisp and short. Let's see how the scoring goes. Meena ma'am, we have a score. Is that the score that you want to give?
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Burrett, sir, I have your score. Thank you. Pooja ma'am, we have your score as well. Thank you. All right, Janay, that was really putting your best foot forward for the cause. Here are your scores on the screen. Out of a total possible score of 100, you have secured 83 points. Very well done. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is not all, right? This is where the audience poll kicks in. I will now initiate an audience poll. Audience will get 1 minute to fill in their choice. It's a multiple choice. You can choose any one speaker. Who would you choose to give your vote to for the best speaker? The school from which we have the best speaker of the day will walk away with 25 additional points added to their tally. Right? It's actually, the race is close enough that 25 points could actually swing. So be very, very careful about how you vote. Let me stop my share so that you guys can take the poll. If the audience is ready, we have about 200 members sitting in the audience. And your time for the polling begins now. I can see the polls coming in. About 40 seconds in, we have 164 votes out of the 198 people who are live right now. And that's the end of the poll. 169 votes came in. In the fourth spot, we have Tanushri, who's with 4% of the polls. In the third spot, we have Jinay with 21% of the polls. Shrama, you come in second with 31%, and Suyog, you top the audience poll with 43%. Congratulations. So that's 25 extra points for Suyog and to the Indian School Al Ghubra. Let me quickly update the scores. I am not enjoying the amount of maths I'm having to do. Sorry for the delay. You'll have to bear with me for a second. Burrett sir, before I disclose the final scores and announce the winners, could we have you back to have your review of the debate, how you felt the students performed?
Okay. Am I audible, Shubayu?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just say that, this is why I hate competition, because these 4 speakers were so good that I feel very sad that 2 may be going home. I must commend all the speakers for their diction, for the clarity of speech, and for their use of grammar and vocabulary. There was absolutely full marks to the way you all delivered. As far as the content was concerned, yes, all of you had some exceedingly good points. I particularly liked the second and fourth speaker because they had some real meaty points in their argument. But even Tanushree, it's always difficult to go first, Tanushree, especially for the judges. Because not only Tanushree, but even Shama, it's very, very difficult, Shama, to go first because we set our yardstick from you. And so at the end of the day, I'll tell you, there are no losers here. You're all winners. When I used to be in the Doon School, I used to be the editor of the Doon School magazine, the weekly that came out every week, for the last 80 years. And it was a very difficult task for me because I had to edit that weekly. And so one of the earlier headmasters, he put down the rules of the journalistic code. And he says you have to steer between the skilla of boredom and the charybdis of sensationalism. Now, Scylla and Charybdis were in Greek mythology a volcano and a whirlpool. And you had to steer your ships through these two. One side there's boredom and one side there's total sensationalism. And that is what the job of censorship actually is. What do you censor? Do you censor out the really good stuff? Then you get boredom. No one wants to see a movie that's totally censored. At the same time, if you don't have censorship, it could become mudslinging. It becomes a free-for-all out there. And, I didn't like to even read the papers before the last elections. If there was no censorship, people were just mudslinging, and calling names. And that, again, I think good reporting, good press, good movies does need censorship. But I think it's intelligent people that know what to censor out and what to keep in. Having said that, in the times that we face now, there's a lot of right-wing extremism in the world, and there's a strong move from right-wing bodies to control the press, control the fourth estate. And it's very difficult now for journalists who are easily bought over. There is the yellow press that we have to live with. So we live in very interesting times where there's a lot of stuff out there. What do we believe? What is censored out? What is censored in? What is the real core of this pandemic? Who started it? There's so many conspiracy theories. It's all very confusing out there. So having said that, well done to all of you. Well done to all of you. You're all winners. I am extremely impressed by all the 4 speakers. Thanks, Shubayu. Over to you.
Hello. Just want to pitch in for a minute and congratulate all the participants here. My name is Meghna. Just wanted to tell you that all of you are so bright and so, you've all made a mark. And real special thanks to Jinay. Jinay really did well, and from Orchids International, I think, and Tanushree as well. And congratulations to the winners. So don't lose your heart. We will have several of these sessions later on, and you can just catch up with the successive debate sessions. So thanks a lot for participating, and just keep your spirits up. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for that, Meghna. Okay, this is when I get to play the evil moderator, right? because I'm going to keep you in suspense about your final scores and make you watch other kinds of stuff. We at Notebook are a company that provides content for students to study using. We are not 40-minute video companies. We are not somebody who will give you hours and hours of content to pour over. What we try to do is provide very short, very crisp videos that go to the heart of the matter and help you study. Jinay is the youngest amongst the four of you. He's in class 10. And so we have chosen one class 10 video that we want to show you that was created by Notebook. Have a look and eventually go onto the Notebook portal, surf it around, and we would love to hear what you all and everybody else in the audience thinks about the work that we do. Let me just share my screen. This is CBSE class 10, the topic of sound.
In previous videos, we discussed sound as a form of energy. That when energy is transferred from one form to another, one of the forms of energy it can be converted to is sound. When we press a doorbell, electric energy is converted to sound energy as the bell sounds. When we start a speaker, the movement of the speaker's membrane produces a sound. So sound can be produced and transmitted. Sound energy travels through water, metals, and all kinds of objects. It also travels through flesh and bones of human beings. As long as there is matter, sound can travel. Sound is transmitted as a wave. A visual representation of sound waves shows that a single molecule of air moves back and forth while sound is produced. This oscillation creates a sinusoidal curve, showing the displacement of the molecule back and forth. It is interesting to note here that sound creates a wave of particles in oscillation until it reaches the eardrums, so that the same vibration is produced in our ears and we can hear sound. So, as the example illustrates, sound is a form of energy that is transmitted through waves. These waves are created by oscillating air molecules that vibrate in points of time. Sound can travel through any object as long as there are particles. If a space is void, without atoms or molecules, sound waves cannot be transmitted. If it is a solid, sound waves can be transmitted faster as molecules are tightly placed between one another.
I think after that grueling debate, that's right about enough physics for the day. Jinay is visibly relieved. He's just started his class 10. He has no intentions of spending a Saturday afternoon reading physics. So from that, we go on to the final scores for your schools. Indian School Al Ghubra, Muscat, Oman. The first speaker scored 91 points. That's you, Shama, with 94 points from Suyog and 25 points to the school for having the best speaker. That's a total of 118 points out of a maximum of 125 points that you could score. Orchids, the International School, Thane. Tanushree has scored 64 points. Jinay, you have 83, which brings your average to 73 out of a total of 125. But here is the good news, right? None of you need to lose heart. The way the qualification works is that the top two teams from the pool will move on to the quarterfinals. So your scores are your individual team scores, more than scores against one another. And thus, please keep your hopes up that we might again meet in the quarterfinals. It's been an absolutely fantastic round of debating. Thank you all so much. It is now my duty to invite Achin Bhattacharyya, who is the founder and CEO of Notebook, to say a few words. Achin, if you're there.
Yeah, sure. So I think we really had a great session. Very impressed with all our young friends. All four of you really made a mark. And as Shubhayu rightly mentioned, and also Burrett sir, honestly speaking, we at Notebook, the entire objective with which we are hosting 0 Hour is to promote the art of public speaking. So there are no winners and losers here. Each one of you made our day. Tanushree, Jinay, great effort. I really like the way both of you came forward with your points. Shama and Suyog, congratulations for your performance. But as Shuvayu very rightly mentioned, that the way the entire scoring system works is we will look forward to 2 teams from each pool. So there are no clear winners and losers here. Each one of you have a chance to move on to quarterfinals. So I think great thing. And I also thank the audience for being a part of this event. It has been a great event. Thank you. Over to you, Shuvayu.
Thank you, Achin. Thank you for those encouraging words. Shama and Suyog, you have a virtual party to attend to after this. I'm sure the celebrations on Zoom will happen. Tanushri, Janay, don't lose heart. Seriously, there is still a lot of opportunity because you've done exceedingly well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Indian School Al Ghubra, the winner of Pool A, the first match of the 0-hour international online inter-school debate powered by Stayfree. It's been a privilege playing the host to all of you. This is Shubhayu Roy signing off, and see you on Monday in the next set of debates. With that, take care, good evening, and good night.